Good morning, everybody. Welcome to chapel. We are so glad that you are here, those joining us here in the space and those joining us via live stream. Know that you are welcome here, whoever you are, whoever you know yourself to be, whoever you are becoming. You'll need a red hymnal for chapel today, so feel free to grab one from the doors there, or there's a hymn rack on the stage if you need one. Just a couple reminders and announcements as we begin. Next week, chapel break is normal on Monday and Wednesday, so fika on Monday, regular chapel on Wednesday. Next Friday, things get a little different because we are celebrating an inauguration, and so you can come here at regular chapel time on Friday. Just know that it will not be a regular chapel service. We're going to do some extra fancy things, and just watch for that as next week unfolds. Also, next Sunday, so a week from this Sunday, is our homecoming worship service at 10 a.m. here in the CFL. It is always super festive, full of music and wonderful things. We're still in need of plenty of volunteers for that service, especially readers and communion assistants, so if you're interested in helping, let us know. Today in chapel, we are continuing with our series of September blessings as we offer a prayer of blessing today for student musicians and artists, of whom there are many in this room today. We are thrilled for concert band and Dr. Neer to be with us, plus our experienced concert band guests, and Dr. Potvin is our chapel speaker, and so we are so grateful for you all for sharing your gifts and for adding to this blessing today of the gifts of music and art in this place. As we begin, I invite you to stand as you are comfortable and able, and let's get grounded and centered for worship. Take a moment simply to shake out your hands, to let your body find its center, and to take a few deep breaths to let your body and your spirit get grounded. Blessed are you, God of the wilderness, God of the sea, God of the horizon, God who meets us in our crossings, God who meets us in our courage, God who meets us in our creativity. We invite your blessing today on all those who follow your example of creation and who participate in the holy work of seeing and contributing beauty in this world. Pour out your Spirit upon all those who share gifts of music, who enliven our praises and proclaim your creative word with power and delight. Breathe your spirit of inspiration into the hearts and hands of artists, whose use of line, shape, light, color, and texture deepen our experience of this world. Send your animating spirit upon all who use their bodies as vehicles of expression, who reflect back to us the complicated grace of being human. Strengthen and inspire all who offer themselves in gifts of creative expression. Bless them in their creative callings that they may find joy, evoke insight, and offer for us an alternative vision of our world. We ask all this in the name of God, our Creator, Christ, our Mediator, and the Holy Spirit, our Comforter and our inspiration. Amen. Our song today is number 687 in your red hymnal, number 687, and we will sing verses 1 and 2.
down. It's part of the gig. Good morning. Late in the day, Jesus said to the disciples, "Let's go across to the other side." They took him in the boat as he was. Other boats came along, and a huge storm came up. Waves poured into the boat, threatening to sink it. And Jesus was in the stern, head on a pillow, sleeping. So they roused him, saying, "Teacher, is it nothing to you that we're going down?" Awake now, he told the wind to pipe down and told the sea, "Quiet, settle." The wind ran out of breath. The sea became smooth as glass. Jesus reprimanded the disciples. "Why are you such cowards? Don't you have any faith at all?" This story from Mark's gospel has always resonated with me. Dim-witted disciples, right? Come on. But I think the story really resonates because the disciples make sense because of their worry. I've always been a worrier. I rarely worry about the things over which I have control, but I almost always worry about stuff over which I have no control. Big decisions, details, or events, or info that somebody else is in charge of. What somebody else thinks of me or my work. Replaying a conversation from the previous day at 2 a.m. Sensationalized headlines. The safety of my family, my wife, my kids, my parents, when they leave the house, when we part ways, because you just never know. I have lived a very blessed life, so when we talk about crossings today, understand that I'm checking my privilege. But I guess I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. My mom, who is watching, says worry has always been part of my DNA. But I'm not really here to talk about worry. The chapel theme this fall is about crossings. It's about liminal space. The space where your worry feels the biggest. So, just like the disciples on the water between two coastlines, traversing liminal space can leave us feeling completely untethered, unmoored, and adrift, especially when storms rage. And I guess today I want us to think about why when we're in the middle of those crossings, maybe we don't need to worry as much as some of us do. I often say to my students that I love walking alongside them on their journey of becoming. It's the best part of being a teacher, walking alongside as people become the people they were always supposed to be. And if that paradigm is legit, then a successful crossing isn't a matter of if we'll make it, which is the source of our worry, but more curiosity about how the journey will take shape. Because if we have a little faith, it seems to always work out. In the fall of 1997, I arrived at Luther College as a first-year student from Detroit Lakes High School in northwestern Minnesota, and I knew no one when I got here. I made some friends, some acquaintances, but by fall break, I found myself missing the deep connections that I had with folks I'd known since birth, and those that I met through scouts, through music, through playing football, and through classes at school. I was uncomfortable, and I was lonely. I thought about transferring. I thought about changing majors, which I did. Sound familiar? First big crossing. By spring, I had developed the beginnings of an abiding friendship with 3 Luther guys that I didn't know in the fall, but with whom I share a brotherly bond today. Each came into my life somewhat unexpectedly, and they likely would have whether I worried about finding them or not. I had to make the crossing to have the encounter. In the fall of my senior year, now a music education major, I was panicking over the specter of student teaching. I was excited to get into the classroom, of course, but my piano skills were horrible, not good, not for lack of coaching. Thanks, Kathy Reed. But in tears, I told a mentor that I was dropping my education certification. I just wasn't going to go through with student teaching. Tim Peter talked me out of it, encouraged me to have a little patience. And in retrospect, I think I was just afraid to leave Luther, to leave the community. I had come to hold it so dear. But ready or not, there was no choice but to make the next crossing and leave. That's what we're here to do, friends. By the time I took the job in Princeton, Minnesota, I had improved my piano skills marginally, and I had also started a relationship with an outwardly funny, infinitely kind, and curly-haired percussionist from the world-famous Luther College concert band. So maybe that panicked moment was just the start of a much larger crossing, one into my professional life, marriage, grad school, parenthood, #adulting. So far, it seems to be working out okay, with serious credit to Susan, of course. I spent 16 years living in Princeton, Minnesota. 16 years. More lived memory than I have of my hometown, the entirety of my adult life until 2017. We had friends there, jobs we loved and were good at, a church home filled with people that had become our extended family. I helped coach our kids and their friends in baseball. Susan had a regular group of folks with whom she worked out. So when we moved to Decorah, we were running towards something about which we were incredibly excited, but we also left all the stability and everything we knew behind. Susan had no job. I was on a visiting contract with no guarantee of long-term employment. Our kids were thrown into a new school. It was tumultuous time. Rocky waters. We held tight to each other and our faith as we worked through that crossing too. And to be honest, we're still working through it, navigating and adapting to evolving workloads, trying to lend a hand to students that are making their own crossings, trying not to capsize from feelings of inadequacy, encountering waves of hustler and imposter syndrome. You're not the only ones, right? We're all there. And as parents, every day seems like a crossing for us or for them, driving the car, navigating peer stuff, discovering limits, and they're almost ready to fly the coop, which is a transition we're anticipating with both joy and lament. My parents and in-laws so far are healthy, but reaching milestone birthdays, we cherish our time together, and I'm nowhere ready to let them go when the time for that crossing, as it will, comes. So I keep wondering when the crossings of life are going to let up. But in recent years, I've come to really buy into the idea that life is a crossing. It's all crossing. Moment to moment, day to day, era to era, we are always in the boat, not on the shores. So you know what? We have to keep trying not to fear what feels like the perpetual crossing, because it's about trusting the guy asleep in the back of the boat, somebody who's maybe not so worried in the least about outcomes, because from his perspective, our inevitable safety and well-being couldn't be more obvious. He's not so worried, so why should we be? Have a little faith, right? When I feel the incredible brokenness of the world around us, that's what I try to keep in my head. Just keep keeping on. Trust, hold on to faith, even when it's the size of a mustard seed. Walk the walk. Keep sailing. And for this kid, raised not in the Lutheran tradition, but in the United Methodist Church, the Wesleyan idea of do all the good you can, in all the places you can, by all the means you can, as long as ever you can, keeps cropping up. So while we keep endeavoring to have the faith, we also have to recommit ourselves to trust each other, to have trust in our social contracts, to trust in the process of becoming, and then encourage one another to listen for quiet voices rather than automatically entertain the loudest ones, to look for ways to uninstall harshness and cynicism in favor of rebooting kindness and gentleness. Because anytime you see a chance to cross into that world, the one the meek will inherit, even for a moment, boldly go. You didn't think we'd make it all the way through without at least one Star Trek reference, did you? Yeah, every time that we sense the waters of the ongoing crossing, we boldly go, working to find our sea legs, to keep equilibrium. So with that, a prayer for equilibrium, using John O'Donohue's blessing for the same. Like the joy of the sea coming home to shore, may the relief of laughter rinse through our souls. As the wind loves to call things to dance, may our gravity be lightened by grace. Like the dignity of moonlight restoring the earth, may our thoughts incline with reverence and respect. As water takes whatever shape it is in, so free may we be about who we are becoming. As silence smiles on the other side of what's said, may our sense of irony bring perspective. As time remains free of all that it frames, may our minds stay clear of all it names. May our prayer of listening deepen enough to hear in the depths the laughter of God. Soli Deo Gloria.
And now go in peace. Trust the process. Thanks be to God.